Right now, the News Hour.
Good evening. What began as a major league annoyance as this day unfolded is tonight the subject of a worldwide criminal investigation.
Pamela Martin, welcome
Jordan,
back.
Thank you. It's so great to be here. That was so funny to see that.
That was 25 years ago.
Wow.
We've brought you back because this station, Global BC, formerly BCTV, is about to celebrate a big milestone. October 31st will mark 65 years on the air.
Wow.
And you were such a big part of this place.
Oh, thank you.
People still ask all the time, what's Pamela Martin up to? So let's start there. What keeps you busy these days?
Well, thank you for having me here. It's really great to be here. I just want to point out, though, that I wasn't here 65 years ago. I think when I was here, I think the first big anniversary I remember is the 20th, which was a very big deal. These days, I'm doing a lot of different things. I'm doing a lot of volunteer work. I'm on boards. I moderate a lot of panels. I travel a lot. I have grandchildren who I love to be with. So, you know, life is grand.
You got here in 1977. You were among the first women on television in this market. You'd already been the first female beat reporter at CKNW. What was it like coming into the newsroom as a pioneer in 1977?
Well, you know, it was extremely exciting to have that opportunity, but, you know, you had to fight for everything that you got. I mean, you couldn't take anything for granted. So if you wanted to be taken seriously, which of course I did as a reporter, I mean, you just had to make people take you seriously. And, you know, if I walked into a union meeting and, you know, was confronted by Jack Monroe and, you know, a big guy, and he'd be like, oh, yeah, we have this cute little girl reporter here. And it's like, okay, you can say that about me, but when I do this story, I'm not going to be that. I'm a journalist, and you better take me seriously. And so there was a lot of that, feeling that you had to prove yourself. You had to be really better than just good enough.
You probably had to work twice, 3 times as hard.
Well, I was going to say that, but, you know, I hate to, maybe they wouldn't all agree with it, but I think that was true. You know, you really had to show that if I was given an assignment, which I was one time, I was told to drive from Kelowna to Nelson at 8 o'clock at night in a terrible snowstorm because there was a story suddenly in Nelson the next day. I had to do it, and so I drove in a snowstorm at 20 miles an hour, barely could see the road, but you know, I could never say, I can't do this. I'm a girl, I don't want to do that. So, you know, but it was also a fun challenge, you know, showing that women can do this job, of course. And, you know, we maybe had a different approach than a male reporter. And so you would get a different story. But, you know, those days were just so exciting, Jordan. Everything about it. Being a woman, yes, that was very important. And, you know, I felt that we had a lot to prove, and it was a lot of responsibility.
And you went all over the province.
All over the
covered
province.
Some amazing stories. One I found in the archives in particular, and we have some footage of it. You met this American millionaire named Vernon Pick, who had built this apocalypse house near Lillooet. Tell me about that.
I know. Well, we used to go on the road. I think you still do. But, you know, Keith Bradbury, the assignment editor, he might say, go to Kamloops, you've got 5 days, come back with 4 stories. So you would be scrambling around looking for something interesting, unique, that no one knew about or had heard about. I actually don't remember how I found that story, but usually what we would do is go to the local newspaper or the radio station and say, you know, find out what are the issues, what are people talking about, are there any interesting characters? There's a lot of interesting characters in British Columbia. And someone told us about him. And there we were, and called him up and said, we want to do a story on you, and he agreed.
NewsHour Final, the weekend edition with Pamela Martin.
Good evening.
A lot of people will remember you as an anchor, but Just talking to you, I get the sense you really look back now fondly on your time as a reporter.
I really do.
Was that the most fun?
Oh, absolutely. I can't think of a more fun job. I feel so lucky that I had that job. It was just the greatest thing. I mean, you would meet people everywhere, all over the province. As you said, we traveled a lot around the province and other places. You know, one time I remember I was assigned to do a profile on Jimmy Pattison. This was after he had been the head of Expo 86. And, you know, I called him and said, so Jimmy, we want to do a profile on you. What are you doing next week? And he said, well, I'm going to Washington to have lunch at the White House. Did you want to come?
No way.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, do I? So, yeah, we got in his jet and went to Washington and didn't have any preparation. So we had no credentials, no passes, nothing. We got to the White House and they hummed and hawed and finally said, okay, you can just go on in.
Last question.
Okay.
Is the real reason you left because of Squire?
Pretty good house party, yep. Pretty good house party. Anybody get sick?
I don't know. I wasn't
Were
there.
you there?
No.
Anybody start crying for no apparent reason? That always
that I
happened at
know
house
of.
parties. Someone just started crying for no
Really?
apparent
You have a
reason.
really a bad childhood there.
Well, you know.
Yeah, no. I would come back because of Squire. I love Squire. He was great. He still is.
He really is.
I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Pamela, thank you so much for coming in. It's great to see you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Jordan. And congratulations, 65 years. Wow. I stood right here with Angelina Jolie. Once, you know, they made so many movies here.
At the BC.
And for more of my interview with Pamela Martin and to see what happened when we got her to read a newscast, for old time's sake, log on to our website, globalnews.ca/BC, and click on Video Hub.